And what is up, fam? I told you guys I was not going to leave this week without giving you guys an extra video. Maybe I'll do a live stream this week. I really don't know. But the one factor I do know is that Harman Smith and his takes on certain things are very, very interesting, especially this take on Starfield. So before we dive right into this delicious content, please make sure to go grab yourself a snack and a nice little drink and just kick back and relax. And hey, if you enjoy this type of content, please leave a like, comment in the comment section. I always like talking to you guys. And if you really want more of this type of content, subscribe to the channel. I'll definitely have more coming for you guys. But besides all that sellout content, let's just go ahead and dive right into this content.
It hasn't even been 2 weeks yet, and Starfield is already completely forgotten. This was supposed to be the game of the year. This was supposed to be Todd's next big game. Like, I saw certain YouTubers come out and say that, like, oh, it has 6 million players concurrently or something like that, right? It's always 6 million with these people.
And 3 days ago, the day that you decided to post this video, 3 days ago, mind you, Harman, Xbox posted at the same time that 10 million players has concurrently played Starfield. And from what you're saying right now, it's gone from 6 million to 10 million. So I don't say that a new IP that Xbox has made is a flop. Because that's just like saying ARMS, the new IP that Nintendo came out for the Nintendo Switch. You know, ARMS, the little punchy fighting game, was an absolute failure. But it sold over 2 million copies, especially for a new IP. Yeah, that's kind of dumb to say. And not to mention, it's been topping Steam charts and the UK fucking charts too. And that's pretty damn impressive, to be honest. And oh, would you look at that? It's topping Legends the Tears of the Kingdom, Harman.
Like, it sold like a bazillion copies. We're not going to give hard numbers because the hard numbers would be actually pretty disappointing. But like, oh, look at all these Game Pass downloads. Everybody on Game Pass is playing this. Like, there were so many excuses made and so much hand wringing and so much like narratives being pushed that I think a lot of people like didn't really catch on to the obvious that I was calling out.
You know, that's the one thing I kind of agree with you on, Harman, that I would like to know. How many people have downloaded Starfield from Game Pass? Like, I would like to know the hard numbers. But actually, here's kind of the thing, though. Not all those sales actually did come from Game Pass. You see, majority of those sales actually came from the, what is it called? The Premium Bundle. And by you selling that Premium Edition, they earned $200 million just off of the sales of that alone, meaning gaining early access to the game and playing it. So, like I said earlier, this is a new IP for Bethesda, and you're sitting here as, oh, it's an absolute failure, an absolute flop. It is such a delusional take that it actually just sends me to the stars.
That the game wasn't going to do very well. It was never going to be the next Skyrim. It was never going to be successful. It was never going to live up to the hype, the legacy, like the Todd's dream game, you know, like the lies will finally become reality in Starfield. In fact, people were denying that like Todd Howard and Pete Hines were lying about the game at all. Like, I saw so many people like damage controlling for Todd Howard. Oh, why would he lie about that? What game has ever come out that was ever what spacefaring game has ever been promoted on lies? You know, that's never happened before. No Man's Sky.
Hey, Harman, can you tell me exactly what Todd Howard and, I don't know, Pete Hines lied about with Starfield? Can you tell me exactly? Because if you're referring to King Thrash's video where he said Tom Howard caught lying about Starfield, then you and me need to have a sit down and have a nice little talk about King Thrash. And let me explain to you real quickly why he's not a good source of calling people out. Let's just say he's gone on Twitter for like maybe the past, I'd say, week, and has really done some really dumbass damage control on Twitter. Trust me, it's pretty interesting. Oh, and if you've seen the drama surrounding that whole situation, hashtag Gas Planet, baby. Also, I'm kind of glad it wasn't going to be the next Skyrim, because I'm getting really sick and tired of fucking playing Skyrim all the time. I'm tired of the fucking remakes that Bethesda make. It was just getting very dull with all these remakes. So, you know what? I'm pretty appreciative that they made Starfield.
Because this is like one of the only games this year that like people honestly believed could have had a shot at becoming game of the year. Like, this is the only game. This is the best the industry could do at like propping up something that could like dethrone a Tears of the Kingdom, right? This is the best they have. You know, this, like, like there's no competition going into Game of the Year season. Like Baldur's Gate 3 has been forgotten, Starfield has been forgotten, like Hogwarts Legacy, like people don't even remember it came out this year, right? Like Forspoken was a joke, Hi-Fi Rush was a joke. Like what are they going to do? Like it's going to be a really crazy year.
You see, that's kind of funny though, Harmon, that you actually think that there's no games that could compete with Tears of the Kingdom. You know, you practically said that, you know, Baldur's Gate is not going to be able to compete with it. Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but Baldur's Gate to this fucking day is still being talked about. The Dead Space remake is not as talked as much as it used to be, but it's still moderately talked about. Hi-Fi Rush, it was a pretty good game, but I do, consider that a contender of the year. Resident Evil 4, oh, you better bet your sweet ass that's going to be in the Game of the Year contender. Armored Core motherfucking 6. Who I will be pissed if this is not the game of the year contender. And Hogwarts Legacy, sure, whatever. Final Fantasy 16, yeah, throw that in too. Ghost Runner 2, maybe in the indie section, but not maybe Game of the Year. Who knows? I may be wrong. But I mean, seriously, Harmon, how are you going to sit there and say these games suck and have zero potential of even being Game of the Year next to Tears of the Kingdom when A, you haven't even looked at videos on these games, and B, you haven't even played these fucking games?
Going into Game Award season because like this is gonna be one of those years where like Nintendo dominates a bunch of genres that the industry doesn't really want them to tackle. You know, real time strategy. Like I saw like Angry Joe last year like spurg out over Mario Rabbids, like winning like best strategy game over Warhammer 3 or whatever, which to my understanding is like a broken glitchy mess even today, right? I was he spurred out about that. Like, imagine how bad it's gonna get when like Pikmin 4 wins that award. Like, imagine how bad it's gonna be when like Tears of the Kingdom wins Game of the Year. Like, imagine how bad it's gonna be when like the Mario movie beats out The Last of Us for like best video game to film adaptation. Right? There's no way it doesn't. Right? Like, if it does, if The Last of Us does win, it's just going to be like more proof of it's just going to be proof of nepotism, right? Because The Last of Us by no means was as popular or successful as the Mario movie.
Harmon, here's a bit of a tip, bro. If you really don't care about the Game Awards, then don't worry about who's going to win the fucking Game Awards. You sit here for maybe like a full minute in this fucking video saying, oh, I want Nintendo to win. I want their games to win. Nobody else deserves to make a win. It's all about Nintendo. Nobody really cares about anybody else. It's all about Nintendo. And you know what, Harmon? Let me just drop this little piece of nugget of knowledge for you so you can understand this. I used to care about the Game Awards. I thought it was a cool place of where actual good games actually got, their just rewards and all that type of stuff. Except for a certain year. Back in 2020, when Doom Eternal lost Best Score and Best Music to The Last of Us 2. And I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but I know there are a lot of people that do enjoy The Last of Us 2, but I'm just going to say this right now. Doom Eternal did it a hell of a lot better than Last of Us 2. I don't know who the hell there had that fucking, that favor of The Last of Us 2, but holy shit, they won that whole Game Awards show. And I was just sitting there like, this is a fucking joke. This isn't about games. This is just a pat on the back for The Last of Us 2 people and saying, here you go. Here's another award. Here you go. Here you go. Luckily, some other people did win that. But when the fucking Last of Us 2 started just winning awards just in fucking streaks, I was just like, yeah, this is a joke. I'm not taking this stuff seriously anymore. Goodbye.
Tony, like whether they're like try and like downplay Nintendo games or if they're going to be forced to kneel and have to acknowledge that like yeah, Nintendo stomped this year.
See, Harmon, there are 3 big titles, okay, and I want you to keep this in mind, that have been talked about during this whole year. It's Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and the Metro Prime Remaster. That's it. That's the big games that they released this year that I've seen so far online people talking about.
They put out the best remakes. They put out the best new entries and like classic IPs. They put out like great titles all year long. You know, we have like Mario Wonder isn't even out yet, right? Like we have all this stuff coming out in the near future, and I just can't imagine that like anything other than like maybe best fighting game, like. it's going to be a blowout for Nintendo. All the big relevant like genres that like everyone cares about, like it's all going to Nintendo, right?
See, maybe you would have a point in this situation, but you really don't. See, this year in 2023, there has been a lot of great games that have released to the public. And I'm talking about absolute fucking bangers, man. I've actually had a lot more fun playing single player games this year versus playing like live servers like Destiny. And I'm telling you right now, I am so fucking grateful that these great single player games have came out, because it feels like I have chains lifted off of me from this derpy ass fucking live service games that bring no value to the gaming industry, except for the CEOs that want to fatten their wallets.
Like I don't think they'll be able to justify it this year. Like they can't really justify like not giving Zelda stuff because of how popular it is. It's if the Game Awards ever loses its credibility, like it's just gonna implode upon itself. So I think it's gonna have to give everything to Nintendo for that reason, right? Like I just I don't see them putting like Baldur's Gate 3 ahead of Zelda, right? Because Baldur's Gate 3 isn't that relevant. Like they just won't be able to get away with it, no matter how much like the establishment wants it to happen. It's just gonna fall flat out on its face.
And you haven't made any good reason besides saying it's popular. It should win Game of the World because it's made by Nintendo. You haven't said anything good about the fucking game. You're just saying it's owned by Nintendo. It should be winning. Blah blah blah. That's it. You haven't justified the reason why it should win. You're not saying because, it's got a really great soundtrack, it plays well, it's got great mechanics, it's got a great score. You're saying none of that. You're just saying here, as a biased person, that the reason why Tears of the Kingdom should win is because it's owned by Nintendo and it's popular.
At the very least, like if they push Baldur's Gate 3, it would just lead to Zelda fans making fun of it, honestly. Like I think that's the exact opposite of what they want. So I think that I think they're gonna have to give it to Zelda. I think they're gonna have to like acknowledge Nintendo in a reasonable capacity this year, and they have been doing better at that over the past couple of years. You know, Metroid Dread won Best Action Game at one point, like 2021. Like there have been like real Nintendo W's over the past couple of years. So like I'm not sure why people think it's like such an alien concept that like Zelda could win Game of the Year.
You know, Harman, here's a bit of a spooky thought to go into your head for a quick second. Nintendo's not the only fucking video game company in this fucking universe. There is actually game developers too who actually do deserve at least some awards that actually do put some heart and soul into this shit. Because some of the games that have been released this year, oh shit, have been really great, and it makes me really happy that at least 2023 has been one of those gaming years that it's like, oh yeah, I have a backlog right now that is fucking long, and I'm going to enjoy playing these games.
That like Starfield could lose, that Baldur's Gate 3 could lose, right? There's so many people right now that are like acting like it's a given that Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win when that game just isn't relevant enough. When the most you have like to promote your game is like the Metacritic score, it's not, and that's not relevant.
And yet, the previous videos I've covered you on, from the Dead Space 1 to the Starfield, you name what fucking videos I've covered you this year, you've used Metacritic repeatedly to say, oh, look at this. The Legend of Tears of the Kingdom, I don't know, I really screwed that one up, but Tears of the Kingdom has a higher score than the X, Y, and Z game. Metro Prime has a higher score than Dead Space. So I'm actually kind of curious in this situation too, Harman. So if Baldur's Gate 3, Dead Space Remake, whatever game's going to be fucking nominated for Game of the Year, what's going to be your excuse if Tears of the Kingdom doesn't win? I'm going to bet anything it's going to end up like this. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, they lied. Oh, it's been rigged. Oh, they've been paid out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty much every excuse under the sun with you.
And at the end, it's going to appeal to no one. Right? That is what we're going to see from Bethesda going forward. This isn't just about Starfield, okay? Like, Starfield failing is irrelevant. Like, we all knew it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. Like, the thing that's really going to kill them is that, like, Bethesda is never, ever going to recover from this. Like, never again are people going to like look at Bethesda games as being like the biggest open world settings in video games.
I don't remember Bethesda being famous for open worlds. I think they're more famous for RPGs, Harman. Like, a simple Google search could fix your whole fucking problems right here. And I'm going to be completely honest, Bethesda's going to be okay. Especially if they've got the 10 million not concurrent players, but players that have played this game, actually paid money, used Game Pass. Yeah, I think Bethesda will be perfectly fine. And I think Microsoft is perfectly happy with how this game turned out.
Now, people are going to look at Nintendo. People are going to look at like more Rockstar stuff. People are going to like, start moving away from Bethesda and start supporting like other titles that do the same thing but better.
Rockstar? Maybe. Rockstar has a pretty good track record with open worlds and stuff, except for the ports of San Andreas. Oh God, that was an absolute complete mess. But the fact that you think Nintendo has a chance, that's a bit of a 50-50 right there. If they release games like Tears of the Kingdom, okay, maybe. I'll give you that one. But if you're referring to games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, yeah. Like I said, yeah, I'm going to have a fun time ripping that little argument apart.
Right? Bethesda is on its way out. And it's in the early stages of that. Like, Skyrim was super popular. So like a lot of people are going to be clinging on to that for a long time. I saw a lot of people who were like disappointed with Starfield, like saying that they would just go back to Skyrim, right? So I imagine those people for like the next 10, 20 years or so will like be somewhat invested in Bethesda, but they're going to slowly just drift away over the next several years. Like, less and less will people be paying attention to their press conferences, believing Todd's lies, like being excited for the next release, because they know it's always the same. It's always the same with Bethesda. They are not a studio that can be trusted.
I don't understand how you could sit there and say at that current moment in your little head where you said 6 million people that have played this and paid for this product is an absolute failure. Actually, like I said, like way earlier in the beginning of this video, 10 million players have played this game, and that's a pretty big fucking success versus like when I said earlier with ARMS where they only sold 2 million as a new IP for Nintendo. That's still pretty fucking good. I mean, hell, even with the sales numbers too, they have fucking Microsoft and Xbox backing up. You think Microsoft is going to let them go after the amount of money they spent on them? You have to be absolutely fucking insane to even think about that. Like, that's just saying basically Nintendo's gonna get rid of Game Freak because Game Freak's not making them enough money, even though they own Pokemon, and it's just everything you're saying here just doesn't make sense in the least bit. Anyway, besides this gigantic freaking mess, thank you guys very much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys enjoyed this type of content, please like and comment in the comment section. I always like talking to you guys. And if you want more of this type of content, subscribe to the channel. I'll have a lot more content coming your guys' way. Other than that, fam, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, fam.
Baby, you're like a